Hey, welcome back to Black Lab Garage. Well, we're having a little trouble with the old white F350 here. So, let me show you what's going on with it. This thing is absolutely pouring power steering fluid. Because I bet it's empty right now. Yeah, see, it won't even register on the stick. It's emptying itself out in just a few miles, but as you can see, the steering box is dry. There's no lines leaking. So it has to be the pump itself, which when I got this truck, somebody had put, because I can see a tag. I was going to say it appears to be a remanufactured pump on it. So I'm guessing the seal in here has went out on it. So let's pull this pump off and I guess we're going to rebuild it. As you can tell, it's brutally hot out here. It's already like 95, 96 degrees. But anyway, are you ready? Come on, let's get into it. You know, people can say what they want to about Fords, but when it comes to the power steering pump and how you adjust the belt, they're so much easier than a lot of them out there. Just loosen them 3 nuts and either tighten it or loosen the nut, depending which way you need the pump to go. I mean, it's so simple. First thing I want to do is get this pressure line loose, if it will come loose, and it's not. And take 2. Nope. Just gonna round it off. Well, I hate to do this, but even a line wrench was just rounding off on that thing. So get out the old Milwaukee vice grips, or actually, as Alice Cooper said, that's originally pronounced Milwaukee, which is Algonquin for the good land. And if you don't get that reference from Wayne's World, then we cannot be friends. I have never had a line that I've had to take a torch to and heat to get it to turn loose. Never. I don't know if they've Loctited the line. I don't know what they've done here, because you can see that line isn't that old. It just blows my mind. Let me turn the flame up here a little bit. So let me get it good and warm here and see if I can get it apart. Okay, that finally done it. I've never had a power steering line that I had to heat to get it loose. So now that we messed the nut up on this,
see here, this is 89.
I'll end up having to order a power steering line.
Same exact.
I mean, this will work for now. We can always tighten it back up with the vice grips, but a little further down the line, I'll order a new line for it. Alright, now that I got the pump off, yeah, it's definitely the front seal leaking, because you can actually see where the pulley's wet in behind it. But look here at the bottom of the pump. So yeah, that seal's blowed out on the pump. And there's the sticker where it was rebuilt, although you can't read it anymore. But this must have been AutoZone rebuild. Now let me just say, these power steering pumps, Ford started using the plastic housing in 77, I think, 78, somewhere right in there. And they continue to use this same power steering pump on up into the 90s. So it's the same process, works on past 79, it goes on up into the 90s. And not just on the trucks, but on the like Mustangs and stuff, also they use the same power steering pump. See here, this is an 89 Mustang GT of mine, and look, same exact power steering pump. Alright, I got the pump over here on the table. And I've got one of those El Cheapo Harbor Freight power steering pump pulley removers. I don't know if that center hole's even clean. Well, I know. Actually, there's been a mud dauber up in it and made a nest. But anyway, that'd be okay. Let's see. It's been a while since I've used this thing. See, that goes like that. Of course, it helps if you put this piece in it. Now, stick it in there. Well, it should be the same, but apparently it's not. Let's see which one of these fits it. Right there. Matter of fact, it fits it too good. Come off there. Alright, let's see. See, that's going to vibrate off the table and knock the camera over. I didn't think it was going to come off right. Ow, that's hot. Now then, take these 3 bolts out so we can get the bracket loose. Ow, that was my finger. Alright. Now for this next part, I've laid this thing down in a turkey basting pan. Just that way in case anything flies out or, we'll be able to catch it. And we'll be able to keep it fairly clean when we're putting it back together. And you can still use it to baste, roast, baste your turkey and whatever. Just rinse it out real good before you use it. Otherwise, it might have a hint of type F taste to it. So, let's take this fitting out. Now there's the flow control valve, and there's a spring for it. With that out, I should be able to take the housing off here, which isn't going to put up a fight, obviously. There it goes. I want to go submerge this in something to clean it some more. Now for this part, I've taken it out of the turkey baster. Now you need a big honking C-clamp. Get you a socket that fits over the snout right here. Well, this clamp may not even be big enough. It is. Barely, but it is. And then what you gotta do, you gotta compress this back here to get the snap ring out. I'll show you here in a second. Times like this is where having an extra hand would really help. But I don't have an extra hand. I know, let me slide this over and drop that up there. Now, son. There'll be a hole right here, and reach into that hole and there'll be a snap ring. Because what you're doing is you got to push forward on that snap ring. See it right there? There's that snap ring right there. But you can't get it out unless you push that forward. Come on out of there, baby. Wow. I would have thought a Harbor Freight screwdriver would have lasted longer than that. Just can't get nothing good anymore. Alright, take two. Snap ring out. Now we can unclamp it. Lock it off. Let's see. Remember, there's a number 2 here. There's an 8 and a 9 there, so the solid end goes away from the number 2. Because we need to remember which way this thing's oriented. Remember, solid end away from the number 2. That's what I wanted you to do. I meant for that to happen. Now you want to keep this together if at all possible. Let me wipe my hands off here. Alright, let's see. Oh, you've got to come out together, don't separate. Well, I got it out, and as you can see, I let it come apart. So I'll get to show you how to put it back together. Over here. Now you've got this plate in here. Move all the springs out of the way that just came out. And slam it. And the plate came out, and there's your cup washer. So I want to go submerge all this in some kerosene and let it soak for a while and get it cleaned up really good. I'll be back in a bit. Alright, now just take a screwdriver, pop your old seal out. And take our new seal. I should say, I'm actually using a genuine Ford kit. This is off eBay. Said it had one O-ring missing. Not sure which one it is yet, but I guess we'll find out. Alright, new seal's in. Now I'm going to take some Type F transmission fluid. Now remember, there's a lot of people say, oh, you can use Dextron, or no. Ford specified Type F. Not just in the 70s. Ford used, and I can show you in the Ford manuals, they specified Type F all the way into the early 1990s. Long after they had switched to Dextron in the transmissions. They quit using Type F and went to Dextron, Mercon in I think 77. That's what they used in the automatics. But the power steering, they still specified Type F. Why? I honestly can't tell you. But Ford had a reason for it, or they wouldn't have said that. So, stick with Type F in your power steering. So, got the seal lubed up. Now, flip it. Oh, and I'm going to tell you, after doing some research, there is some differences in these housings. Like some will have this metal retainer that goes over this, but it'll have a lip machined into it for that to fit on. This one didn't have one, and that's why I can't put this one on, because it's not machined for it. Ford would change stuff. Alright, put the washer in and make sure that it's cupped facing up, and you want to line it up where you can get the pins into those two holes. That's what those two notches are for on each side. Alright, now just drop the pins in. Alright, now I've got this plate right here, and there's an O-ring in the center. Take that out, and there's an O-ring on the outside. Pull it off. And take our new O-ring. And our other new O-ring. And we'll put a little transmission fluid on it. On the O-rings anyway. That will put it on the face of the plate too. Now you want to place it in there over, or you want the pins to go through it, but the O-rings need to go down. There's one pin. And there's the other. Just like that. Then make sure that it's all the way down and seated. Alright. Now you remember this thing didn't hold together when I was taking it apart, because I wanted it to come out as one unit. Well, it didn't. So I gotta try to put this back together. I want to attempt to, because it's spring, and then this, I call it a wiper, goes on there. And somehow I've got to hold them in to slide it back down in there, which will be no easy feat. But I want to try to do it with zip ties. So let me see what I can do here. Alright, so far, knock on wood, this is working. Put a spring in. the hole right there. And then I'm being very careful. Push down on it. I take this hook from the other side and make sure that the spring's down. And push that under the zip tie. And then be real careful and slide the zip tie back up in the center so it holds it in. And then turn it and do the next one. So far that's working for me anyway. Okay, I switched off to a hose clamp, but you can see I've got them all back in there. And if you're real careful, you can look down in there and see that the spring is straight if this happens to you. Which I hope it don't happen to you. But if it does, just take your time, put each spring in there, put the wiper in on top of it, then move to the next one, and keep going. I also want to tell you, I used a red Scotch-Brite and polished this shaft up before we put it in because it had some rust on it right there. So this will make it slide in easier. Now I'm being real careful, sliding this back in. Get off me mosquito. There we go. Success! Now remind me not to ever do something stupid like that again. You know, I guess in retrospect I could have taken this clip out and pulled this loose from the shaft if it would come loose. So yeah, don't do as, you know, we'll try that next time. Been a long time since I've done one of these, to be honest. Now you see this notch right here, and you see on this housing you got two rounded ears and one square one. You want this notch facing up and away from the square notch. Now, I've already lubed this shaft up. And we got to put it over the pins as we go down. There it went. So remember, we got a new seal, so it'll be a little tight going through that seal. You have to be careful because you can see the pins weren't originally in these two holes. When I first put it together, I had it in those two holes, so I just pulled it back up and just reclocked it and put it in the right holes. So just make sure that you have it in the right holes, because you can see where it was not originally. And some of these have oblong holes that you run into. This one doesn't, but some do. So don't put the pins in the oblong holes. Now I'm going to take the pump and pour just a little bit of transmission fluid down in it. Let's see if we can turn it. Well, if I could hold on to the snout of it, I could. Alright, where I lubed the shaft up is hard to grab onto, so I grabbed the Scotch-Brite to grab the snout and look. It turns just fine. You'll see in that, you can actually see how it pumps. So, we know we're good there. Now you've got this rear plate, and same thing goes. This notch will line up with that notch. It goes away from the square. And of course, this side of it faces inward, which I'll put a little fluid on it too. Notch down, lined up with the pins, and there we go. Hey, we're in the home stretch. Let me wipe my hands off here. Now you've got this last piece. And make sure that your plastic baffle, shield, whatever you want to call it, is in there. And of course, you see that notch in it? It goes down with the other ones. Oh, I need to put the O-ring on it, don't I? Oops, I forget that. Now you remember our ridiculously big C-clamp? Well, break it out once again. You can press that together and put this snap ring back in. This thing is no fun. There we go. You hear it snap in? Now take this redonkulously big C-clamp out. Make sure. Yep, it's in good. We're good. Alright, now let's put our big O-ring on the outside of the pump. Now let's go get the housing. Alright, I went and got the housing. I freshened the housing up. Remember how it was all faded and looking bad? Well, I freshened it up with some SEM black. Of course, got a new O-ring on. Here we go. Now, got that on. Drop the spring back down in there. Drop the flow control valve back down in there. Now, we've got this fitting here. It's got two O-rings on it. So let's remove them. This one. A bit of schmutz on that one. Up out of there. There we go. Alright, got that O-ring on, and now this one. It'd be good if it went in that groove, but it doesn't. Come on, baby. Get down the other one. There we go. Why Nat decided to fly down in there right on the control valve, flow control valve, I don't know, but it did. Anyway, I got him out. Tighten her up, and we're done. Well, except for putting the pulley on, you know. Yeah, I got the bracket back on. And I've got this inserted from the Harbor Freight kit. Let's see if we can get this pulley back on here. Let's see. Okay, it's gonna be a slow process, so I ain't gonna make you watch the whole thing. There, one rebuilt Ford power steering pump, ready to bolt back on the truck and go. I do need to touch the pulley up right there where I pressed it back on, but outside of that, looks good. It'll work good, turns easy. See, it wasn't so bad. So there you go. I hope this helps some of you, and I mean, it'll save you quite a bit of money, because I looked on Rock Auto, because everybody knows they're usually the cheapest, you know, rather than buying it locally. But a reman power steering pump was $39.81, I think. You know, it's right at $40. Whereas the kit to, you know, the seal and everything, all that was $7.81. That's quite a big chunk of change that you can save right there. And it's not that complicated. Even if it flies apart, it still ain't that bad. Just need a hose clamp, like I showed you. So, I hope this helps you. Hey, stop and hit the thumbs up. Comment. Like, subscribe. And stay tuned. Me and the pups will be back with another one. And listen to more Goose Creek. See you.